So let's talk about wisdom. We tend to think of it as, just collecting a ton of facts and knowledge. But what if it's something different? What if it's more like a journey, a sacred spiral journey that the soul takes? Today, we're going to break down that very idea, how we evolve from this state of pure, innocent wonder to a more experienced understanding, and then, finally, to this amazing integrated way of being.
There is no knowledge more powerful than the ability to see with clear eyes, to speak with deliberate words, and to listen as though there's still everything left to learn. Wow, this quote really it sets the whole tone, doesn't it? It's telling us right from the get-go that true wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about how we engage with the world, how we see, how we speak, and especially how we listen. It's about staying open, not just trying to be right. This is exactly where our journey begins.
All right, so here's a quick look at where we're headed. We'll start by exploring what this spiral journey really looks like. Then we'll meet the three key figures that kind of represent the major stages. The fool, who's all about innocence, the wanderer, who's searching for truth, and finally, the sage, who brings it all together. And we'll see how that wisdom gets put into action through the figure of the magician.
Okay, let's dive in. Our journey starts with a figure called the Fool, and right away, let's be clear. This has nothing to do with being dumb or incompetent, not at all. It's really about a state of pure, untainted curiosity. Imagine someone carrying a lantern of innocence, seeing the world through a lens of what we call innate or a priori knowledge.
So what in the world is a priori knowledge? Well, think of it as the intuition you're born with. It's that gut feeling, that deep sense of wonder that doesn't need any proof or scientific studies to back it up. It's kind of like how a little kid sees the world. Everything is connected, everything is magical, way before we come along and teach them to break it all down into neat little boxes and labels. And the strengths of the fool are just so powerful because they're so simple. This figure, this archetype, trusts completely, without that paralysis of doubt we all get. They see the world without needing to slap a label on everything or judge it. And they create just for the pure joy of creating, not for applause, not for likes on social media. It's a state of just pure, unfiltered presence. But, and this is a big but, there's a critical weakness here. This beautiful innocence is also kind of blind. The fool, well, they leap without looking first. And when they inevitably fall, they feel this deep shame for trusting too easily. So while this garden of simplicity is absolutely wonderful, to really navigate the complexities of the real world, the soul eventually has to leave it.
Okay, so after leaving that initial state of innocence, we step into a new role, the wanderer. This is the seeker in all of us, the part that's hungry for answers, for external truths, for rules and systems that can help explain the world. The wanderer's whole focus shifts to gaining something called a posteriori knowledge.
So a priori knowledge is basically the flip side of the fool's intuition. It's all the knowledge we get from the outside world. From books, from teachers, from scientific experiments, and just from raw, messy life experience. It's structured, it's logical, and it's built on things you can actually see and prove.
And this shift from one to the other, it's absolutely fundamental. The fool's truth is all internal, right? It's experienced through pure wonder. But the wanderer's truth is external. It's gained by categorizing, measuring, and analyzing. And the goal completely changes too. It goes from simply being in the world to needing to prove and master it. Now, there's a real danger on this path. The wanderer can start to trade away that beautiful inner wonder for external rewards, what our source material calls currency. Think about someone who's chasing a promotion. Are they doing it for the love of the work or just for the title? It's easy to get so good at playing the game that you forget it's even a game, and you start mistaking the rules for reality itself.
And this brings us to a really critical turning point. See, a lot of wanderers get stuck right here. They get trapped in these illusions that feel like they're making progress, but really, it's just a lot of motion. This is where we start to see why just collecting a ton of knowledge is not the same thing as actually gaining wisdom.
So trap number one is what's called the illusion of external completion. You know this feeling. It's that nagging voice that says, if I just read one more book, or take one more course, or find that perfect teacher, then I'll finally have the answer. It's an illusion that keeps the finish line forever just out of reach.
So how do you break out of that? Well, the sage asks a really piercing question, and I want you to really sit with this one for a second. What is left when this word, this rule, or this idea is removed? What truth is still there inside you when all the external stuff is stripped away?
Okay, on to trap number 2, the illusion of movement as growth. This one is so easy to fall into. It's when you mistake just being busy for actually growing. You feel super productive, right? You're highlighting books, you're attending seminars, you're collecting all these facts. But the real question is, are you actually changing, or are you just accumulating data?
And the question that cuts right through this is a tough one. It forces you to look at your real motives. Ask yourself, am I still wondering, or am I merely collecting? Am I still actively, curiously engaged with the world, or have I just become a passive collector, hoarding information without ever really letting it change me?
And the last big trap is the illusion of identity in roles. This is when we wrap our entire identity, our whole sense of self, up in our external roles. We start to believe things like, I am a doctor, or I am an artist, and we completely confuse the job we do with the core of who we actually are.
And the question to break this illusion might be the most direct of all. What does the system serve? Truth, or merely my need for utility? In other words, is the system you've built your life around, your career, your belief system, is it truly serving a deeper truth? Or is it just there to make you feel useful, to help you fit in, to make you feel secure?
So how on earth do we escape all these traps? Well, that brings us to the next figure on our spiral journey, the sage. And what's so beautiful about the sage is that it's not some new person you become. It's actually a return home. It's a transformed, integrated version of who you've been all along.
And listen to this definition. It's just perfect. The sage is a fool who does not wander, and a wanderer who cannot be fooled. It's such a powerful synthesis, right? The sage has gotten back the fool's pure wonder and presence, but now it's supported by all the hard-earned experience of the wanderer. They have that innocence, but they can't be tricked. They have all that knowledge, but they don't need to search endlessly anymore.
This fully integrated state is called holy knowledge, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this incredible, potent combination of that innate, a priori intuition of the fool with all the hard-won a posteriori experience of the wanderer. It's the meeting point, you know? It's where the timeless, eternal truths of the soul connect with the messy, practical realities of the world. But here's the thing. This kind of wisdom isn't just something you think about. It's not a passive state of being. It has to be lived. It has to be put into practice every single day. And that active, real-world expression of the sage, well, that's the magician. The one who actually takes this integrated knowledge and weaves it into a meaningful, impactful life. So how do we actually do that? This checklist gives us a pretty great starting point. First, use words lightly. Use them to reveal simplicity, not to sound smart or complicate things. Speak simple truths instead of hiding behind a bunch of jargon. Second, always question your own systems. Is what you're doing every day serving truth, or is it just about conforming? Third, and this is huge, protect your foundation of wonder. Deliberately make space for things you do just for the joy of it, not because they're productive. And finally, practice stillness. Can you just sit with yourself without needing a phone, a TV, or some external validation to feel okay? That's really where the magic of integration happens.
And this final quote just brings the whole thing home. You do not let go of knowledge. You let go of its grip on your soul so that it may serve you rather than rule you. See, the point isn't to become ignorant again, to go back to being a naive fool. The point is to stop letting all that knowledge, all the facts, the titles, the roles, have such a tight grip on who you are. It's about turning knowledge into a powerful tool that serves your soul, instead of letting it be the master that rules you.
So I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. As you look at your own life, your own journey of learning and growing, which one of these figures really resonates with where you are right now? Are you the innocent fool, just starting out? The seeking wanderer, hungry for answers? Or are you moving towards the integrated sage? Something to think about.